In the Dark. Written by Connor Cooper. Part 6. Watching the clippings of red and black fur wash down the drain of the shower, Salem scrubbed the back of his head with shampoo, taking advantage of the free time he found himself. After helping trim up his partner's fur, the site resident decided to cut his own fur, since, after Ted stitched on his new flesh, the fluffy material became like a coat of natural fur. Honestly, Salem didn't mind his new look. He was just glad that our single scientist's personal hobby had left him with a ton of material for the little helpful bear to use. Either that or having the itchy blankets to be used for his skin, which he definitely not going to use, would be a living nightmare. Stroking the water from his hair fluff, Salem lifted his head up, feeling the warm water droplets on his face, causing him to smile. He couldn't remember how long it had been since he could take a shower without worry. He was half tempted to take a bath instead, but there was just something so nice about having hot water softly washing over his surgical scar-carved body. Then again, maybe a bath would be better for the phantom pain. Feeling a hand on his shoulder, Salem opened his eyes before looking into the eyes of his companion before switching places with her. Standing back to back, the host couldn't help but to feel Milo's tail brush against his legs as he began to put on peach conditioner over his body. He had to give the ponies credit. The soap actually smelled like fruit, and none of that synthetic glycerin stuff the Foundation provided for their staff. Switching back to rinse off, the human beast held his face in his hands for a moment, before holding his cheeks and opening his eyes to Milo hugging him from behind. "This is nice, huh?" Salem asked, to which his skull-faced companion brushed against the side of Salem's head, nuzzling him while nodding her head. "I thought so too." Standing under the shower head for a little while longer, the two enjoyed each other's company, before turning off the water and stepping out the glass case to dry off. Drying his hair with a towel, the former human looked at the mirror in front of him, much to his amazement that the whole thing didn't fog up or anything but remained clear. Staring at himself, the former human almost didn't recognize who he was looking at. Ever since his transformation into his chimera, he had been in his suit working on the gate. He never really got to see his full body in the mirror after the surgery. And now that he finally had a good look at himself, he began to question if the whole transformation into this form was necessary, seeing how this world was almost similar to Earth. That train of thought was almost right away stopped when he countered it with answers. He didn't know what could be on the other side of the gate. This new body of his was beyond the levels of a normal man, to the point of being superhuman. His eyes were infused with biomechanical parts to allow him to see beyond the normal spectrum of light, almost like a natural night in thermal vision. The spine he once had was ripped out for an unbreakable hex cyber frame that seeped into his skeleton and central nervous system that also let him connect to his armor. Most of his organs were replaced with better cybernetic ones such as new respiratory system that would allow him to breathe underwater and deadly gases, to a double heart that held a blood filtration system, not to mention the nanocarbon tubes that were now his very muscular system with a new skeleton composed of an unbreakable metal alloy, made from metals that are commonly found on Earth. A little part of his mind did make him wonder how much of him was still natural. Shaking out the feeling, he stepped back into his exoplate that was standing in the corner waiting for him. His body tingled as the nerve suit sealed itself around his body, followed by the combat exoskeleton's armor covering the dressed form of Salem, before his helmet sealed itself around his head. Lifting his hands up, Salem opened his closed palm to see if he felt the reactive liquid under the shell surrounding his entire body once again. Milo, on the other hand, rolled her eyes due to her suit-up being less impressive and not as complex. One moment she was wearing nothing but her black fur, the next she was wearing a specialized MTF outfit Salem made for her. Flipping her hair back, the Skullhound turned to look at Salem before she cracked a smile, causing the host to walk over and pull on her jacket.
"We need to get more normal clothes,"
Salem commented, which caused Milo to nod in agreement before holding her hands out.
"Can't be wearing military gear all the time, huh?"
Milo asked, to which Salem shook his head.
"Not really."
Giving a low chuckle, the two exited the bathroom and into the main room. Salem had to unpack a few things from his wrap pack system, but not all of them were SCPs like Titus. Just a few essential items, nothing too extreme besides the medium tube-shaped device on the table next to Titus' case, along with other miscellaneous knickknacks. And Ted, who was currently sitting in the middle of the table. It didn't feel right to keep the little guy in the pocket dimension with the rest of his gear, so Salem pulled out the patchwork bear to stretch out his legs, in a manner of speaking. Salem did think about pulling out a few other things, but decided against it. Best not to assume this whole place would be a permanent place to rest their heads. Though he was half tempted to build Miss Jane's PC, and talk with the sentient computer program if she knew anything about magic. Then again, that was a big if. But then again, most of the stuff he knew about was from Miss Jane. From advanced medical knowledge to paranormal engineering. Hopefully she will understand.
You alright there, partner?
Milo asked, to which Salem noticed her trying to grab his attention before nodding.
Yeah, just zoned out there.
Tapping her forefingers together, she turned, lightly opening her mouth before moving her hands again.
Can you bring out the box?
Chuckling, Salem tilted his head slightly.
Well, we haven't used it in a while, and I guess it wouldn't hurt to have some.
Salem answered before pulling his pack off again, removing another part before reaching into it and pulled out a large, flat, military-style combat box. Before he could open it to reveal what was inside, the two's attention were turned to the door at the sound of knocking. Salem placed the black case on the coffee table and made for the door, while Milo gave a silent whimper in protest of their lunch being interrupted. Opening the door, Salem took a moment to process where the person who knocked was before looking down. Smiling courteously at him was a purple and green reptilian creature, which he could only guess to be a dragon. A small one, perhaps, but a dragon nonetheless, which briefly caught him by surprise.
Hello?
Salem offered a greeting.
Hey there, you Salem?
The dragon asked, to which Salem nodded in reply. The dragon gave a warm smile.
Man, Twilight wasn't kidding. You're really from another world.
I am. Who are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Salem asked. The dragon raised a claw, offering a handshake as he introduced himself.
The name's Spike. Spike the Dragon. A pleasure to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Spike.
Salem returned the handshake before continuing.
Is everything alright?
Yeah, of course. Twilight thought this whole thing would be a bit overwhelming since you're from Earth. And since Twilight and I have experience with meeting folks from Earth, she sent me to see if you needed any trouble adjusting and needed any help, Spike answered. But to be perfectly honest, I kinda wanted to meet you firsthand.
That's nice of her, I guess.
Salem stammered a reply. The two just stood silently before Salem pointed into his room.
Wanna come in?
Sure, if you aren't busy.
Spike nodded.
Nah, my partner and I were just going to have lunch.
Salem waved nonchalantly.
Oh, I don't mean to intrude.
It's fine, come in. Would you like some pizza?
I would love some.
Spike grinned excitedly before stopping with a puzzled look.
How did you get pizza here? The royal cooks don't usually cook pizza.
Salem smiled within his helmet.
I'll show you.
Meanwhile, prison cart. Sombra hissed in her gag as she pulled and tugged on the chained straitjacket, trying to break free while the cart rocked down the streets of Canterlot. She silently cursed Salem's name within her mind, while the fallen tyrant pulled and tugged on the restraints. The former Dark King of the Crystal Empire had been defeated in battle before, and despite her prideful nature, she would admit that very few souls who had bested her. Of course, she would always have her revenge upon them, specifically the few who have bested her and lived to tell a tale, such as Princess Celestia and Luna, the Elements of Harmony, Princess Cadence, and her husband Shining Armor. And now the bastard Salem. She snarled and gnashed her teeth, seething in rage as she remembered their encounter. From all the foes she had faced before, none had done more to earn her ire than the human. Not only did he beat her in combat, but he humiliated her and destroyed her pride, along with her image. Biting down on the gag with her sharp teeth, the mayor who was once King Sombra was already planning ways to torment and torture the human, before breaking and turning him into her slave. She wasn't going to grant Salem death, but a painful existence under her control, and use him and his weapons to take back the Empire, and maybe even all of Equestria while she was at it. Doesn't matter now. She'll cross that road later. For now, she had to get out of this cart before she was locked away in Tartarus. Pulling her body forward, she shifted herself to roll only to stop short as the tight chains prevented her from moving too far, and the magical suppression ring around her horn was still holding. Her mind raced as she processed her options to escape from her binds. Before she could act, however, the entire cart rocked violently before tumbling to the sides. Closing her eyes, Sombra felt the entire cart roll and crash into something, causing the former king to feel her gut churn while strapped in place. Feeling the tumbling cart come to a stop, Sombra opened her eyes as her head spun from the crash. Hanging upside down, Sombra smiled at her good fortune before noticing something. Her arm was free.
Buck, what the buck just hit us?
Standing up, one of the guards escorting the prison cart held his head. I don't know. The other guard hesitated. Those three came out of nowhere. I tried avoiding them, and I guess... Wait, what about the prisoner? The two guards turned to the cart's cabin before them. One of them picked up their spear and walked towards the broken door on the back of the cart. The inside was shrouded with a black smoke. Moving hesitantly with his partner behind him, the two guards carefully approached the inside. And without warning, the one first of the two was pulled into the gray-coated arm, reached out and grabbed him by the neck, lifting him up and throwing him into the other guard. Still reeling from the shock, the two guards struggled to their hooves before both screamed out in agony as one of their own spears were stabbed through the solar guards. Some were reformed into her physical form while wielding one of the warden's spears, much to the horror of the closest guard, who stared helplessly with fear at the mayor, who gave a dark smile, delighted at their pain. The dark magic covered Sombra's body before being suddenly absorbed into her shadow, leaving her covered in her trusty plate armor and cloak. Leaving the two impaled guards, she marched forward, summoning a jagged dark blade and leaning on top of one of the guards' necks.
Don't think I didn't forget when you touched me, worm.
Sombra hissed and gave a single swing to remove the heads of both guards from their shoulders. While not intending to kill the second guard, Sombra simply shrugged before flicking away the blood from her blade. One thing is for certain, this whole change did give the former king a new perspective on what it's like to be a mayor. Snapping her head away from the guards, she spotted three mayors covered in mud with strange clothes, arguing to each other in the chaos. The yellow one went silent as she noticed Sombra standing only a few feet away and nudged her compatriots, silencing both as they both came aware of the situation. Both parties stared at one another before Sombra offered an unsettling smile, tilting her head to the right. Without another word, the three then bolted off, not realizing the one that saved was the former dark ruler of the Crystal Empire. Sombra made a mental note to thank those three, if they were to ever to meet her after her revenge. If they survived, that is. Noticing ponies were starting to gather at the scene, Sombra snarled before her physical form disappeared into the darkness, and she sank into the shadow of the cart. Perhaps she would take that old goat's offer after all. Who knows? Maybe Grogard knew how way to reverse her back into a stallion. Canterlot Castle.
So I just touch it and it makes any pizza?
Pretty much.
Salem answered while eating his own slice before Spike turned to the pizza box in between them. Tapping the pizza box, Spike laughed as the pizza suddenly appeared before him.
That's so cool!
Spike smiled at the sight of the gem-covered pizza.
Wait, are those gemstones?
Yeah? Why? Oh, right. I forgot to mention we dragons eat gems.
Spike replied, to which Salem lowered his half-eaten slice as he processed the little dragon's words.
How does that work?
Honestly, I don't really know that myself.
Are they good?
Salem asked.
Heck yeah! Oh, sick. There's grilled emerald on this.
You know what? I ain't gonna question that.
Salem remarked before taking another bite of his slice.
So this thing never stops making pizzas?
Yep.
Man, I would like to have one of these.
For what? Pizza every day?
Salem asked, to which Spike nodded.
Look, even though my metabolism is insane, I would rather not spoil my favorite foods by eating every day.
He added with a chuckle.
Huh. That's a fair argument.
Spike shrugged as he watched the pizza slice move up before disappearing on its own.
Man, that's so cool.
What? Milo?
Yeah, I mean, she's just a, Stalon.
The dragon commented. The two non-equestrians looked at each other, unsure what he was talking about.
Who?
Oh, he's a superhero from one of my favorite comics. He has his ability called quantum superposition. Basically, he can state reality and...
Spike stopped himself, realizing he was going on a comic nerd rant.
Sorry, habit.
Salem shook his head.
It's fine. And besides...
He reached into his pack before pulling out a much smaller case and opening it.
I'm a reader of fine literature myself.
Spike gawked in excitement.
Shut the front door. Are those Earth comics?
Salem smirked underneath his helmet.
You a Marvel or a DC fan?
This extra section is specifically for SCP-458, the pizza box that they were eating from. I'm going to do the description of it and all that, just so there's better context to it. Hope you guys enjoy. SCP-458, the never-ending pizza box. Object class, Safe. Description: SCP-458 is a large-sized pizza box from the pizza chain Little Caesars of their hot and ready variety. It is made of simple cardboard, measures 10 inches by 10 inches by 1 inch, and weighs about 20 to 20.49 grams depending on toppings. As a result of the unusual nature of SCP-458, measurement of the weight is inconsistent. What makes SCP-458 an oddity is that while appearing to be an ordinary pizza box, when it comes into contact with human hands, it instantaneously replicates within the holder's subconscious preferred choice of pizza, down to the favorite sauce, cheese, crust, and topping. It is not limited to Little Caesars brand, as pizzas from all major pizza chains, as well as local and even handmade pizzas, have been produced. There seems to be no limit to its ability, except that it cannot make anything but pizza, and its toppings must be edible by normal human standards. See Addendum 1A. The box is also rather indestructible, as all tests to destroy or dismantle the box have proven fruitless. It is assumed the box is semi-sentient, having at least enough telepathic or empathetic ability to sense what the holder's personal choices regarding pizza are. SCP-458 Test Log. Subject: Twilight Sparkle. Race: Unicorn. Birth: Alicorn. Known aliases: Element of Magic, Princess of Friendship. Result: medium, dry hay, light sauce, and thin crust. Subject: Applejack. Race: Earth Pony. Known aliases: Element of Honesty. Result: large, extra cheese, chopped onions, normal sauce with a hint of oregano, normal crust. Subject: Rainbow Dash. Race: Pegasus. Known alias: Element of Loyalty, fastest Pegasus ever to live, self-acclaimed. Result: medium extra cheese, diced olives, mushrooms, normal sauce, thick crust. Subject: Rarity. Race: Unicorn. Known alias: Element of Generosity, the biggest drama queen ever to have lived, given by Applejack and Rainbow Dash. Result: small, gourmet-style veggie pizza, light cheese, thin crust. Subject: Fluttershy. Race: Pegasus. Known aliases: Element of Kindness, the Animal Whisper, the Angel with the Stare. Result: medium 3-cheese pizza, light sauce, light Parmesan cheese sprinkled, normal crust. Subject: Pinkie Pie. Race: Earth Pony. Known alias: Element of Laughter, Master Party Pony. Result: extra large dessert pizza with many different candy toppings with chocolate sauce, stuffed powdered donut crust. Subject: Spike. Race: Dragon. Known aliases: Dragon Lord. Not publicly known: Spiky Wikey, given by Rarity, Savior of the Crystal Empire, and Spike the Dragon. Result: large, extra cheese, gem-covered toppings, normal crust. Note: this pizza is referred commonly as the 10,000-bit style pizza due to the gemstones used for the toppings, and the name isn't just a name for the pizza, it is worth 10,000 bits, only made by royal cooks of the Candlelit Castle for dragon guests. Subject: Princess Celestia. Race: unknown birth species, matured alicorn. Known aliases: the Solar Princess, Sunbutt, Tia, given by Luna, co-ruler of Equestria. Result: large Detroit-style deep dish pizza, extra sauce. Subject: Princess Luna. Race: unknown both species, matured alicorn. Known aliases: the Princess of the Moon, Lulu, given by Celestia, co-ruler of Equestria, Nightmare Moon, alternative personality. Result: medium, oven-baked, extra cheese, oregano and Parmesan sprinkled upon the top, and stuffed crust. Subject: Salem Gray. Race: human, birth, Chimera. Known aliases: not available. Result: medium pan-baked style pizza, bacon and pepperoni toppings, extra cheese, Parmesan, stuffed crust. Subject: Milo. Race: SCP-1471-A. Milo version 2.0. Known aliases: Miss Schrödinger. Results: medium pan-baked style pizza, bacon and pepperoni toppings, extra cheese, Parmesan, stuffed crust. There we go. I'm gonna see if I can do the chapters thing down below to see if I can try to separate out between the actual video and this extra content that the author left behind, because this is chapter 6 and 6.5. I figured I might as well slap it on because it's just something fun. And hey, you know, I've always wanted to do SCP stuff, why not? That aside, I would like to thank my wonderful donators. Thank you, my Tier 1 Patreons, Squall Windfeather, Rainflicker, Starlight Blaze, Dreamless Portal, Thine Tiny Equine, and Stu Hex. My Tier 2 Patreons Chase Lemaster, Sword Brethren Mordred, Solus, Captain Blueshadow, HKH4 aka Texture, and the Animated Ghost. And of course a large thank you to Silent Titan. I appreciate your guys' support so much and it means a ton to me. If you wanted the ways to support me, well of course liking, commenting, and of course subscribing always does a ton in the algorithm and I appreciate it all. That aside however, this has been Firehearth. Have a wonderful day.